Welcome back, sports gamers. It's the Natural with a Madden 19 November title update here that features franchise as well as an addition to Madden Ultimate Team and gameplay fixes. Gameplay. Every week in the comments, fix the gameplay. These are gameplay fixes, gameplay patches, gameplay improvements. This is the gameplay video right here. Let's get right into it. They actually added in the first ever the ability to post-launch update to playbooks. So now they add in the functionality that they can update playbooks during the year. So typically what happens is that they have to wait into the year, guys watch tape, get the plays of the teams, the actual plays, and get them into the game. Now they're able to do that because teams don't always run, most of the time teams don't run what they ran the year before. Perfect example is the Chiefs. The Chiefs offense last year is different than it is this year with Mahomes versus Alex Smith. So now they can actually on the fly in year update the playbooks. That's a huge addition that's probably slept on by most people. They don't think it's a big deal, but that is a major deal that they can update plays in season, have some zone coverage, pass blocking improvements as well. Some of those glitch blitzes or whatever you want to call them, edge blitzes are now no longer working in the same way because they changed contain. So let's get right into the exact specific updates. Starting off with franchise, as you know, we got most franchise folks here. So they addressed issue where players did not have enough time to snap the ball when super simming. They fixed the draft clock display for non-commissioner users when pausing the draft. And some retired veterans who came out of retirements have been re-added to the preseason roster. So you should be seeing guys come out of retirements like that. Updated logic for awarding the Super Bowl MVP because you don't want your kicker winning it or some guy off the bench. So yeah, addressed conditions that would cause freezes in franchise modes as well as stability issues when advancing in the draft. And updated CPU draft logic for selecting first round running backs. Also some stability issues with minimizing during the loading screen when playing as a player. That's it for franchise. Individual updates already covered in the previous video. They added the player exclusive retro known as the Jordan retro cleats there into the game that you can actually select on your players. You can't control the color. I wish you could do that, but you can fit your players with new Jordan retros. People asked me that for a while, but that's in a separate video. Let's get back into gameplay. Playbooks. Like I said, they have the ability to make changes in during the year with the playbooks, and they added in split back formation to the West Coast and the balanced playbooks, and functionality to allow slot receivers to motion out from single back tight and single back tight flex formations. That wasn't a game last year or something for whatever reason was removed, but now it's back in. They have the ability to motion out your the slot guys like that. Updated alignment for kickoff return formations to address the exploit and guys scum kicking and pinning opponents deep in own territory with coffin corner kickoff. So that's fixed. And some plays in the Hail Mary Spirit formation and custom playbooks will no longer be available. That was causing some glitches. Updated the logic around the coach cam play art to address cases where the quarterback contained and blitz play art will sometimes provide a pre-snap tell as to what play the offense was running. And some things that they tuned as well, they removed the 10-second runoff penalty after the offense takes an intentional delay of game penalty. And there are still ways to get the 10-second runoff penalty called, such as after a false start when the necessary rules conditions are met. They did some tuning to prevent offensive players from sometimes popping after the huddle break. I've seen a bunch of different little huddle glitches, and you know, there's a lot of mess around that this year. So hopefully they continue to clean that up. Address the issue preventing sack stats from always being tracked correctly from sacks made during play action passes. Yeah, I see that where they were not being counted properly, and if you sack someone on a play action. Tune the camera flip after interception so that users are less likely to briefly run in the wrong direction. Thank you. People have been, man, like, that's been, I want to do more tests. I hope that's out the game because I've literally missed so many pick sixes with losing control after or facing the wrong direction after an interception. It should have been a pick six. The tune of kickoff accuracy, so inaccurate kicks will be penalized more with wildly inaccurate kicks going out of bounds. Fix the issue that sometimes could cause injured player via off-ball injuries to get stuck running off the field. All right, and so these ones is just, this is the whole section just on catching. So a lot of issues around catching, as well as, you know, we have a separate section just for real player motion as well, which has been kind of a mess this year. Catching, address the issue preventing illegal touching, running, ruling from being applied correctly to receivers catching the pass after being out of bounds. Let's see, it's a rare issue where a fumble in the end zone is recovered by a defender going out of bounds can be ruled as a touchdown instead of a touchback. Another rare issue where the incorrect catch animation to trigger when throwing late across the field. There's a section on real player motion here. Addressing a rare issue preventing the ball carrier from being ruled down correctly during specific three-man tackle animation, as well as the issue allowing players to avoid an auto motion before the snap, which has been used as an exploit. And made some improvements to the CPU ball carrier logic to decrease the frequency of drastic cuts and direction changes. That's really a major one there. Playing against the CPU and they have a wide open lane, they can break wide open and then make some crazy real player motion cut or spin or juke that makes no sense, and you just tackle them for a 2-yard gain. So more realistic when guys who play the computer, more realistic running. So hopefully that continues to improve that. Address from rare cases of players getting frozen on the ground post play after some cut stick and game tackle animations. We've all seen those post play stuff. Pass coverage, whole section on pass. They've done a ton of work, and kudos for the team for continue to work on that, because there are definitely some issues with the zone coverages in the game this year. And of course, you know, being real, should these things all have been perfect and at launch? Yeah, in a perfect world, I would love for you know, a lot of things be working, you know, to be working properly, especially when it comes to zone coverage, because we know that that's been an issue. Just, you know, the zone coverage is being wacky and wonky. A lot of one-play touchdown, a lot of guys wide open, people not understanding why, and I don't think they did a good job at explaining the rules. So sometimes it's you know, I've seen people complain about coverages where they blew the coverage themselves, not realizing that, oh, okay, the safety I was controlling, he man matches that receiver and follows him on the field, so that, you know, they're grabbing the safety and cover stuff underneath, not realizing that they're supposed to be man matching a receiver, you know, going deep or running a post across the field. And so it looks like to them are blowing coverage, where actually they blew their own coverage. But there also was, you know, some other glitches in the game and issues, you know, like the fake screen pass, which that was just totally you know, they dropped the ball on EA's part. But it's good to see they're still working on that, and hopefully all these fixes can carry over to next year so we don't have this same problem. So they added coverage logic for deep half defender in cover 6 to cover post routes more effectively, and added logic for cover 4 palms to more effectively cover streak routes. Added coverage for cover 3 sky and cover 3 match to cover the PA crosser plays more effectively. People get a lot of one-play touchdowns out of that. So need more tests on that. Make sure that these fixes are applied correctly. Address the issue that would sometimes cause the middle linebacker to blitz instead of playing his 3-receiver hook zone when using the big nickel over G 4 quarters. I haven't seen that because I actually control my middle linebacker when I run that. So yeah, that would suck if someone was running that happened. Address an issue where the cornerback on cover 4 plays stop playing as assigned zone when the tight end had been hot routed to pass block. Added coverage logic for cover 4 quarters and cover 4 palms so that defenders can more effectively cover corner routes out of the pre-snap motion. Okay? Added coverage logic for quarter flat defenders and cover 4 quarters to cover 4 palms to react more aggressively to flat routes. That's nice. Added coverage logic for quarter flat defenses and cover 4 quarters, cover 4 palms to defend the mesh route concepts more effectively. And two last ones here. Address the issue causing cover 3 match. Defender to strafe across the field while trying to get a line when using baseline and nickel over G and cover 3 match. Baseline is just something that just really, I know people love it. It's not football, and they basically need to figure out a way to get that out of the game, because there's no such thing as baseline in real football. You never see defenders line up 5 yards away from a guy. It's just baseline such a one of those, it's like a total Madden thing that they have people loving in the game, but eventually they need to get that out of the game. But on to the last one. Address the issue preventing man coverage defenders from being able to press fade routes. Now I've seen this one. See, now I thought these were put into the game specifically for that reason. Like, you know, in past years they always had kind of unbumpable routes, some unbumpable releases. So I want to see more in some specific plays that I thought were kind of made to do that on purpose. So I want to check and see that if this applies to that. That would be great, because there's some actually some really good money plays in the game that I haven't put out, and I didn't, because a lot of times I'll find something and I won't make a video on it because I know people will see it and exploit it. So I'm gonna do some more tests to see if there's a couple plays that I know that are really crazy with that if you press is basically a one-play touchdown. So hopefully that addressed that, because that was kind of unrealistic that anytime you press these certain fade routes that guys would just get wide open down the sideline. And a whole category section on blocking, which is I guess pretty much a sore point every year for a lot of people. So and I think a lot of the blocking this year kind of took a step back from last year, but they're still working through it. So a lot of issues they be having with the quarterback, the cornerback and stuff, and blitzes and linebacker blitzes at 3-3-5, where they would slide the linebackers over, put them in a contain, and the guy would just kind of loop around and get unblocked. I've seen various they've addressed some of the DB blitzes earlier patches where DBs put them on contain, they would come over. Now they took the contain off the DBs, they go to the linemen instead. So this is just more kind of fighting against the meta, fighting against the unrealistic blitzes that guys are doing, and this is more of that. So they tune the QB contain behavior to make them rush at a wider angle, as well to stop rushing to contain the outside when they're unblocked due to an overload. So they would overload one side and the contain guy will just come free off the edge. So now they'll actually stop rushing and they'll kind of just contain instead when doing that. So this addresses the pass blocking and QB contain logic for all those blitzes out of the 3-3-5 odd formation, and similar setups to that. They did add a dev note there and stating when they broke down some of the exploit setups that are being used in 3-3-5 odd and other formations, it was caused by a contain rusher either rushing the B gap or rushing the same gap as the adjacent rusher. And since the design of the QB contain assignment is to counter quarterback scrambling inside the pocket while not being a pass rusher, they've made adjustments to support that intent, and they've tuned it to force them to rush wider as well as continue to play contain in cases where they cannot be blocked by the offensive line. So that means that they would not rush the quarterback after a few steps if they are not unblocked. They'll continue to break on scrambling quarterbacks when they contain alignment, or what that play to rush the quarterback for the entire to play. He needs to be assigned a pass rush assignment or either play call or hot route. I mean, that feels like such a band-aid, because now you're gonna have guys on the outside in QB contains, unblocked, standing there just basically staring at the quarterback until he moves. They're gonna be standing there looking at him like, not covering anything, not doing anything, just like, hey, I see you, I'm containing you, don't come this way. It just that's kind of a really ugly band-aid. It's almost like the nano protection. Like, I get what they're doing, but when it works, it looks real ugly. Like, it looks real unrealistic. So I don't want to pass in judgment on this one, but we'll see. I know they're trying to stop those blitzes, but it just makes the game so gamey. But on to the next one. They tune to improve pass blocking while handing off engaged defenders while pass blockers are switching blocking targets. That sounds dope. That sounds really good. That's like real football blocking there, not just getting stuck to one guy. Even though this is not amazing things, this is no real line stunts in the game, but if that sounds amazing if there were line stunts in the game. Address the issue causing offensive tackles to use short pass sets and shotgun formations when pass blocking against some defensive formations as big nickel over G. That was pretty much everyone's killing them with the squeeze the line, make them rush outside, and they just get really good pass rush upfield rushes and put pressure on the quarterback. So see to address that. Address more instances of pass blockers sometimes falling down at the snap when using hurry up offense, and some more cases of this were uncovered since the last total update. And everyone's seen the center. I've seen a couple times when my center just basically snaps the ball and just takes a nap. He just goes into full fetal position on the ground, and mostly that results in my quarterback getting totally destroyed. So I'll still keep an eye out on this one. Address some instances of an issue caused where a blocking fullback on halfback toss, sometimes targeting the defender on the backside of the play and then causing result in the fumble. We've all seen that, a toss and the fullback just doing something wonky, going the other direction, running into the quarterback, all types of crazy stuff like that. And some small PC updates here, adding the correct default button mappings for PS4 controllers, and the big Madden Ultimate Team update, the ability to play squads as a duo. A lot of people ask for that, and you can actually go in and click a little button to say duo. It grays out the right option there, and then you can go in and play with your buddy, just two people, 2-on-3. So that's really cool that the Ultimate Team dev team got that in, because that's something guys been asking for all the way back to last year. They got it in the game, so you can play duos and squads in Madden Ultimate Team. And they also addressed the issue allowing defensive teammates and squads to interact with the defensive captain's pre-play adjustments menu and other online stability improvements. So that is the November title update. Okay, you guys say fix the gameplay. We want to get this is their attempt to fix the gameplay. Whether you're happy with it or satisfied or feel this should have been done already, that's your opinion or prerogative, sure. But this is a gameplay update. Majority is gameplay fixes, gameplay improvements, and some tuning, as well as additional features like the playbook ability, which they just did a tiny little bit there, you know, adding a formation to the 2 playbooks. But there's so much more they can do with that. It's especially they put resources to it to take a look at what teams are doing right now, like the jet sweep stuff that a lot of teams are running. That's kind of started with the Rams and the KC, and it's kind of spread across the NFL already. A lot of jet sweep stuff, getting that in the game like in the same year, not having to wait a whole till next year to see that stuff, or RPOs, which I don't think is coming anytime soon. But the idea that you can update and get something like that into the game is a real great one, and definitely a step in the right direction for the title. So that's it for this update though. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, turn the notifications on so you don't miss more content here at sportsgamersline.com. This is The Natural. I'm out.
Get the back, you don't know what's going on with me. I just talk that shit till I'm buried underneath, 6 feet deep in the earth, and they saying rest in peace. How could you compare me to them? I don't bleed.